Ding dong, the witch is dead. That is a joke I have made like a million fucking times on this channel, where we see things like Ren and Sixes get banned, or Hogaks get banned, or Eldrazi get fixed, or whatever the fucking boogeyman was of the time. Of course, the boogeyman of this time was Companion. Now, Companion was special. Companion was different to all the others because Companion was something that was so egregious and so fundamentally changing to the rules of Magic that it fucked everything up. It fucked things up so bad that Wizards of the Coast have now reduced the effectiveness of companions by basically nuking them from orbit by changing how they work. If you do not know, companions like Luris that you can see on screen now no longer function how they used to. They actually now require you to pay 3 mana at sorcery speed as a special action that doesn't use the stack to put the card into your hand. So every single companion now costs essentially 3 more mana at sorcery speed. This definitely fixed them. It probably made them unplayable, and I'm okay with that because I think the whole design space was a fucking pile of hot shit anyway. If you've been wondering where I've been, I've had some quite severe allergy reactions that have then given me like a cold essentially, so I just took some time off and I painted a shit ton of Warhammer 40k, and I've been fucking loving such a refreshing and different thing. If you want to know or see more about the 40k, the Blood Angels that I'm putting together, then A, I might make some videos about it if people are keen for it, and B, follow me on Instagram, PleasantKenobi on Instagram, because that's where I post all the pictures, the progress pictures of my painting. But today, all of the Warhammer out of the way, today I'm playing some good old-fashioned green-white Death and Tax. Modern and Legacy were not friendly to this deck prior to the companion nonsense, so I don't even know where I'm going to end up with this today. But I do love these cards so very, very much, and I enjoy the style of problem solving that you have to go through when you're jumping through hoops to play these fair cards. Is it good right now? I don't fucking know. Alright, but that's not the question that I'm asking. The question I'm asking is, can I enjoy playing Modern and Legacy anymore as they pile more and more design mistakes front-ended into a power crept standard? Well, let's find out. Let's play some fucking Magic. We're going to play a couple of rounds today. I might release a few rounds later on in the week. I don't know how they're going to go. Haven't played them yet. If you're one of the people in comments going, couldn't you play a whole league? Think about it, right? I don't want this video to be fucking 4 hours long because no one watches it. That's why I cut down and only show a few. Not to show my wins, not to show my losses. Often if I've played 5 games of a league before uploading the video, I will upload the rounds that I thought were the funniest or had the most amount of talking points around them. Would that be memes? Would that be silly combos, cool decks my opponents are playing, things I did wrong or right? Or just if I've had a talking point around something that's got me excited or made me want to talk about Magic, I will upload those rounds. The deck list is in the description below. You can also see it on screen right now. With that out of the way, let's play some fucking Modern and hopefully feel like it's a breath of fresh air now that Luris and co have all been ejected into the sun. Or should I say ejected into the sun? I don't know, encased in carbonite. Like, they're still there. The threat is still looming, but they're just nowhere near as good as they used to be. And good fucking riddance. Let's play some Magic. And we have won the die roll. We have a hand of 2 lands, 3 2-drops, a Wisp and a Knight. I'm going to give it a shot. Our opponent doesn't reveal a Pokemon, which is like a breath of fresh fucking air, I tell you that much. We lead Vasevoge Thicket, and our opponent suspends a Lotus Blue, exiles a Simian Spirit Guide, taps that snow-covered island, and casts, I guess, a Pentad Prism, I'm assuming? Tad Prism, there we go. Okay, Dahlia's going to help against Ad Nauseam, but we could do a draw and a Ghost Quarter to go with his Arbiter. Cavern of Souls naming Dryad, simply because casting this Night of Autumn to destroy Pentad Prism is going to be very, very good. This means that any land drawn now can cast them. And we cast the pass back to our opponent. The lowest bloom ticks down. Dahlia should hopefully slow them down enough for us to make some headroom, some leeway, if you will. But with that said, they can still go off through a Thalia. It's not perfect. 2 mana here, using 1 from the Prism to cast a Saruman Visions, meaning that they don't actually have a land in hand. They've missed a second land drop. This makes their Pentad Prism much, much worse further down the line, which is good for us. So Thalia's already doing God's work. They found the second land with the snow-covered island that looks like a butt plug, and we move on to our turn. We drew an Horizon Canopy, so we're going to go white, green, white, Night of Autumn, Kapow, blow up your Prism. We pass back to our opponents, the Lotus Bloom ticks down again. The dream scenario is they have to pay for the Lotus Bloom to come off and suspend next turn for 1 mana because of Thalia, and they can't go off, which allows us to then Wisp our Knight, blowing up the Bloom and really messing them up. We drew an Arbiter. We attack them for 4. We play an Arbiter, and we pass back. I mean, playing a Wisp might have been correct, because it's 3 damage, not 2. Would have actually sped the clock up. That would have been a 2-turn clock instead of a 3-turn clock. But I guess with casting any creature next turn, it's a 2-turn clock anyway. They spend a mana to cast Lotus Bloom, and they pass back to us, as I thought they'd have the mana to go off this turn. Essentially, Bloom gives them 3 blue and a white here. That's 5. That's ad nauseum, but they can't cast Phyrexian Unlife or Angel's Grace alongside. We play a Forest, attack for 6. We cast a Wisp. Wisp flickers our Knight of Autumn, and the Knight of Autumn destroys their Lotus Bloom. Let's go to sideboarding. Game 1 goes to us. Looks like Tharli is a pretty good Magic card. I'm bringing in 2 Collector Oof, 2 Damping Sphere, 2 Knight of Autumn, 2 Idol and a Rhetoric. All these cards either hate on artifacts themselves, or they hit on the ability to cast multiple spells in a turn to slow our opponent down and make them not be able to combo, for example, Angel's Grace plus Ad Nauseam. I'm bringing in Burrowed Forge Tender because it's good against Lightning Storm, which is one of the potential kill spells from them, although they probably have the Thassa's Oracle option as well, so which makes it not as good. Bit of ASMR fizzy popping here we go. Oh, yes. Our opponent Hector's has kept a 7-card hand. We have double Arbiter, Resto, Flicker, so we have a clock over time, but none of these cards really interact with our opponent. If one of these was a Ghost Quarter, then the Arbiter would be great. I'm going to have to mulligan them. 2 lands and a Thalia, a 3rd land giving us Knight and Wisps, so I'm going to keep this. And I'm going to bottom 1 of our Wisps. Our opponent casts a Serum Visions off of a City of Brass, pinging themselves down to 19. Our opponent suspends a Lotus Bloom. They put 1 card on the bottom of the library and 1 on the top with the 2 squires from Serum Visions. We drew a Knight of Autumn, so we're going to play that Temple Garden tapped and pass back. Obviously, we're casting a Thalia next turn, but we need to draw a 3rd land to enable the rest of our hand. Swamp from our opponent, they pass back to us. We drew a Phyrexian Revoker, so we can Revoker the Lotus Bloom on the following turn as well. Meaning they'll pay 1 mana for a creature or spell, or artifact should I say, fucking hell, words are hard, that they can't actually use. In the meantime, Thalia is good here just to slow them down for the following turn, as well as making them have to spend money on. Now, they've paused, they're tapping for mana. Is this Dismember? Exile. Okay, it enables the rest of our hands. That isn't so. Also damage them off City of Brass, so it really isn't so bad. We get the planes. I mean, next turn we're going to Revoke the Bloom anyway, so they can't use it on the following turn. City of Brass from our opponents, they pass back to us. We play a Phyrexian Revoker. We're going to name Lotus Bloom here, and then our intention on the following turn is to blow up the Lotus Bloom with a Knight of Autumn, and then we can reset our Revoker with a Flicker Wisp if needs be. Whilst talking and typing, I've named Phyrexian Revoker with my Phyrexian Revoker. Haven't played any Magic for like a week, so that's a mistake I haven't made in a while. Literally, fuck! I was talking and typing. Looks like we're gonna reset it next turn if they don't just go off and murder us here. This could have just thrown the game, all because I was talking and typing. I was also thinking in my head about naming Lightning Storm after we've blown up the Bloom. Do we die here? I type an oops in the chat because I'm a fucking idiot. They cast a Phyrexian Unlife, which means we might not die this turn, so that's good. We drew another land, so we play the Canopy. I play a Knight of Autumn here and I go to blow up the Phyrexian Unlife. I could get the Bloom because it gives them less mana next turn, but I went for the Unlife instead simply because if they have Spoils of the Vault, they get to cast, well, Spoils of the Vault and get us. They cast Angel's Grace, so they have Ad Nauseam here, essentially. We're just fucking dead, because I've punted the game. Oh, they have Spoils of the Vault, so I was right about which card they'd have. They're on minus 35 here, and we get to see their entire deck, thanks to the Spoils of the Vault. They're cracking their Lotus Bloom for some mana. They're casting a Thassa's Oracle. We can see here they got Slaughter's Pact. Multiple Thassa's Oracles. No Lightning Storm. There is a Lightning Storm. Okay. Well, we know what they're doing now. This naming... Lotus Bloom would have been pretty good, but Magic is hard. Magic is really fucking hard. Okay, our opening hand has Noble Hierarch into Dampening Sphere and Collector Oof. We're going to keep this. Hope it's good enough. A Wisp allows us to flicker out a Phyrexian Unlife to get through and kill people too. Yeah, pretty good. Hopefully I won't misname the fucking Black Lotus effect that our opponent has with my Phyrexian Revoker. Jesus Christ. Maybe I shouldn't have like signed up for Phyrexian Revoker in my lists of my first games back. Our opponent suspends Lotus Bloom and casts a Serum Visions. We play a Collector Oof here and we get in for 1 damage. Damping Sphere would have been more effective of stopping them from like cantripping twice next turn, for example, but Collector Oof is more damage by playing it. They play a Thassa's Oracle as a blocker. It is a 1-3, but it dies if it were to block a 3-3. We get into the red zone with our Collector Oof. They take 3 and go to 16. We play an Eidolon of Rhetoric to allow them to only cast one spell per turn. This means the turn that they will have Lotus Bloom come off Suspend. Well, it's a useless sort of artifact with the collector who can play anyway, but they have to pay. They have to play it and then not be able to play anything else that turn as well. They cast Serum Visions, their only spell for this. They make a land drop, which is City of Brass. Drew a Noble Hierarch. Ironically, the Eidolon is stopping us from playing both Damping Sphere and Noble Hierarch this turn, so perhaps playing Damping Sphere last turn would have been better for that reason, but it's hard to say. We play a Noble Hierarch this turn, we're playing Damping Sphere next turn. We don't have to be too worried about Slaughter Pact or Dismember here, because they can play one of those in our turn and kill either the Eidolon or the Collector Oof, but that doesn't enable them to then go off the following turn. It's if they have, like, chain or get two removal spells together, that's where the problem would lie. They cast Lotus Bloom here, they play a land, we drew a Horizon Canopy. Now, I think I'm just going to blow up the Lotus Bloom, I think. Although Damping Sphere... Oh, this is tricky. I'm going to get into the red zone first. 3-turn clock here unless they block. Obviously a 4-turn clock with a block. I think playing Damping Sphere is good as it's a piece of disruption they can't easily kill. So if they did somehow manage to chain together the removal spells that I mentioned, they still have to deal with Damping Sphere. Well, by that I mean deal with the Damping Sphere so they can actually combo off on a turn. However, at the moment they have access to 5, 6, 7, 8 mana if Lotus Bloom was working. We sacrifice our Horizon Canopy after they made a land drop. We draw a Ghost Court and we untap. We draw a Wisp. We know they're playing a basic Swamp and a basic Island or two, so we can't really like Ghost Court plus Field of Ruin to try and get them off basics here. We take them to 4. Now we're going to cast a Wisp here because it just gives us the option to fly over the top, even if they have a blocker, which gives them one less turn. So we're going to play Wisp. I guess we can Wisp the Damping Sphere out, but then we can't cast another spell because of the Eidolon of Rhetoric anyway. They're going to path to exile my Collector Oof here, which is going to allow them to cast, well, use their Lotus Bloom next turn. Okay. So they're going to have a lot of mana, but they can only cast one spell this turn unless they have Dismember or a Pact of Slaughter Pact. Pact of Slaughter? Yeah, Slaughter Pact. I guess they can Slaughter Pact the Eidolon and then just go off here. Although Damping Sphere would make the Ad Nauseam then cost 6 mana. I guess they've got 8, so Slaughter Pact would be 0. Ad Nauseam would be 6. That would leave them with 2 mana. Yeah, they're going to struggle. Now what you've got to remember is that Angel's Grace buys them a turn here as well. We're going to not evolve on the Lotus Bloom here though, just to take them down on mana and resources. Okay, they've seen enough. Victory! The unfair ad nauseum nonsense with Thassa's Oracle that might be back now that Companion's not the hot ticket. Still gets fucked up by a lot of disruptive elements that TNT can bring forward. I've always thought the matchup feels relatively favourable. Overall has been won by us. Our opening hand has a Vial, a Noble Hierarch, 2 Blade Splices and a Path. Not hugely disruptive against combo, but a very reasonable hand I think. We're going to lead with Aether Vial. Whilst a turn 2 Blade Splice is pretty good, I kind of just want to have this online so we can make Blade Splice after Blade Splice later down the line. Mystic Sanctuary means we're probably against Snowco, though I guess many decks probably play this at this point, but it's probably Snowco. That makes our Vial really good. We play our Thicket and pass back to our opponent who lands a Misty Rainforest. The turn, in their end step, we're going to activate our Aether Vial. Can't even talk these days. Activate the Aether Vial, and out of the Aether Vial, out of the Pokeball comes the Noble Hierarch. Uptick Vial on our turn, draw a Path to Exile, which I don't have combat and attack. Now, is Snowco playing Mana Leak anymore at all? I mean, Mana Leak is a card you just don't really see much of. Or by Snowco, I mean, Oko doesn't exist anymore, so I mean Bant Snowblade. I'm literally looking at Goldfish right now. Holy fuck, yeah, they play Mana Leak. I guess I need to play around Mana Leak, so I can't just slam a Blade Splicer here. They crack their Misty Rainforest. They get a Temple Garden, so they are Bant something, that's for sure. And they flash in a Icefang Coatl. Field of Ruin from our opponent. 3 mana for a Teferi Time Raveler. What art is that? It's going to bounce our Vial. Not the best. Not the best. Honestly, I haven't had many Vials bounced by Teferis at this point in time. We replay our Aether Vial. Force of Negate this. If they have Force of Negation, it's a very, very good target because Vile will cause them problems further down the line with all the counter spells that the Bant's, not Snowcade, the Bant's Snow Blade decks run. Yep, there it is. You love to see it. And by that I mean, I fucking don't. They exile Uro to force and negate our Aether Vial. Well, like I said, it's kind of expected. We got a 2-for-1 out of that though, so it's not terrible. We're then going to cast Blade Splicer to get ourselves Aether. They uptick their Teferi. They play a Flooded Strand. No attacks. The snake can block and defend their Teferi. Cavern of Souls. Okay, that's a pretty good pickup here. We're going to name Human. Gives our Blade Splicers and our future Thalias and such uncounterability. We're going to use one of our 2 paths to clear, or attempt to clear, the path to Teferi to kill it. Now, if they have a second Icefang Coatl, they will kill our first Blade Splicer, which is a shame. If they have a second snake, they can also just block the golem to help the Teferi survive as well. We're going to see another snake here, I think. They're cracking their Flooded Strand. They shock themselves. They Supreme Verdict at instant speed, of course, because of the tick off to Teferi. To say that's frustrating is an understatement. Okay. We're then just going to cast a Blade Splicer. I actually hadn't considered us getting Supreme Verdicted there. Makes the path to clear the way pretty fucking bad, honestly. They play big Teferi. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, this deck is one of my... It's a very skill testing deck, but it's harder to play against, honestly. Like, we're at a situation now where winning is hard. They have 4 cards in hand. If they have a snake, we aren't even getting through. We have a Guaranteed Township on the very least. They have 2 Snow Code permanents, so the snake wouldn't have Death Touch. We'll attack Baby Teferi here. We activate Gavany. Take the Teferi to 1. They untap with both Teferis in play. They draw a card up to 4. Not feeling confident about this. Where our matchup against Ad Nauseam feels very good, and I'm very, very confident with it. Our matchup against the control decks, especially... I mean, traditional blue-white control was never really too much of an issue. We had tools against it, our Thalias, and later down the line, Selfless Spirits and such to slow them down enough to be able to aggro them out. The problem with the contemporary control decks, the Bant, Snowblade decks, or even similar iterations with Snow, is that the amount of good blue-white and green-white cards we've seen in the last few years, from Icefang Coatls to Uros to Teferi, is pretty damn high. Just like you're fighting into a torrent of just incredibly powerful cards. We've seen a Stoneforge Mystic go get a Batterskull here. They've just hard cast the Batterskull. At least we can not evolve in the Batterskull because they're not going to have the mana up to bounce it. They're going to tap 2 lands of Teferi but not be able to save the Batterskull from our Knight. That's certainly something. We play a Thicket. They have 2 mana here. Do they have mana to stop the Knight of Autumn killing the Batterskull? Let's find out. They did not. And then we're going to attack Baby Teferi. They can have a snake, aren't they? They can have a snake. Do they have a snake? No, they're going to chump with Stoneforge Mystic, keeping Baby Teferi around. Big Teferi is like approaching fucking emblem territory. Ugh. The sub-game around Planeswalkers is... kinda lame, honestly, but that's I'm trying to come back to Magic not to complain about everything, but we all know this is a problem with contemporary design, that Planeswalkers dominate games in ways that other opponents just don't. People who compare them to Companion, oh wow, they're putting Wrath on top of their deck. People who compare Companion to Planeswalkers were just insane. I think it's disingenuous to do that for the most part. I mean, some people were doing it simply to try and find some sort of parallel to discuss, of cards that had changed the Magic's landscape so severely in the past, but the majority were just talking complete shit. They Field of Ruin us here. We get a forest. They got rid of our Cavern of Souls, so they got counter magic in their hand, probably Cryptic Command. We're going to crack our Canopy on end step. They can Supreme Verdict us at instant speed here as well. So I think this game is over. We're going to be going to game 2 unless we draw something godly. It's godly, but it's only godly in the first turn. We're going to attack Big Teferi here and see if they fuck up and don't wrath us. Okay, that is a Supreme Verdict. We're going to scoop it up. Sometimes you have to know when to cut your losses and save some time against control. Something I think I've been very bad at in the past. Okay, we've got Noble Hierarch into Arbiter with the Ghost Quarters and Field of Ruins and a Revoker for Planeswalkers. I'm going to keep this. We can go Hierarch into Leaning Arbiter, blow up a land, and hopefully strip mining them and then turning off their fetch lands might be enough to allow us to make headway into this game. Hallowed Fountain tap from our opponent. We drew another Ghost Quarter, so we're going to slam Arbiter here, play a Ghost Quarter, and we're going to strip mine our opponent. There we go. Cat Jesus doing what he does best, which is fuck up our opponent. They play a snow-covered island. Pass to us. It's not a white source, so they can't path our Arbiter here, which is nice. So we're going to play Ghost Quarter. We're going to blow up their snow-covered island. And they scoop it up. Looks like strip mine into strip mine wins games in Modern. Oh, fucking hell. If this is on stream, I'd dab right now. That's right, I would fucking dab. You heard me. Okay, we're going to keep this. This is a Temple Garden into Noble Hierarch into Arbiter into Ghost Quarter them again hand. I'm into it. I like it. I like it a lot. We also have Aether Vial that we can play obviously early on. I don't think I will though. I think the strip mining them is just too strong early on. Our nut draw is essentially Noble Hierarch into Arbiter. It's why I think the deck could benefit from playing more birds or geese or whatever. Our opponent leads with everyone's favourite piece of shit rock, Arkham's Astrolabe. Oh god, I forgot this card existed. But on the upside, honestly, Companion was so bad for Magic in my opinion that things like this feel like refreshing breaths of fresh air now, right? Okay, Eternal Witness, which will allow us to get our Ghost Quarter back. That's pretty hot. I'm going to lead with Noble Hierarch and pass the turn. The Arkham's Astrolabe makes all their lands produce white and be able to path our Arbiter, so we might not get to strip mine the shit out of our opponent this game. They could also have Mana Leak or potentially even Remand, I guess, if they're a Psychopath up next turn, but I think we can't not play the Arbiter. I think that's a bad idea. That said, we could go Aether Vial here. Aether Vial is softer to Force of Negation. Potential Metallic Rebukes, but I don't think this is the Metallic Rebuke deck. This is the Bant Snowblade Teferi deck. So it's weaker to Force of Negation, but Leonardo is weaker to Path to Exile. So it's hard to decide which one is strictly the right line here. Which resolves. Now, bearing in mind, if we attack with the Noble Hierarch here, which is a human druid that becomes a 1/2, and they play a snake for 1 blue and 1 green because of Astrolabe, they have 3 other snow opponents. That 1/1 snake will draw them a card and trade with our Hierarch. I don't think that's the correct line, so I'm not going to attack here. And we see an Icefang Coatl from our opponent, which has Death Touch and draws them a card, like I said. Hallowed Fountain from our opponent with a shocking. They're going to play, yeah, Teferi here, okay. Did they bounce the Aether Vial? That's the question. I'm going to bounce my Hierarch. Interesting. Okay, Hierarch goes back into my hand. I've got Aether Vial to replay it next turn, so that's not actually much of a tempo loss at all. But they get to attack us, I guess. And it also protects their Teferi this way, too. Okay, we play a Ghost Quarter. We cast an Arbiter. We blow up. Now, the Hallowed Fountain feels like the correct line, but interestingly here, blowing up the snow-covered island takes them off Death Touch. The whole snow thing is so ludicrous, isn't it? When when you really think about it. Next turn, because we're going to have Hierarch off of our Vial, we can go Eternal Witness, get back Ghost Quarter, and Ghost Quarter them again. This Arbiter hopefully will disrupt their ability to play fetch lands and activate them here. They can obviously keep up the mana and play things instant speed, of course. Breeding Pool. Tapped. No attacks from our opponent. We're going to activate Aether Vial. Make a Noble Hierarch. We're going to untap. We're going to tick up our Aether Vial. We're going to play a Temple Garden. Now, we can keep up Resto here to protect it against possible removal spells. So I'm going to pay 2 life and keep up Restoration Angel. Arbiter's going to attack the Teferi. They're going to block those Vanquil Rattle, uptick the Teferi this turn, and then next turn they can Verdict us, I guess. That's the problem I've got here. But I can also like Vial back my Arbiter and then Flicker or Resto my Eternal Witness to get my Ghost Quarter back and chain together that sort of situation. Okay. They've got double white here. Oh, magic, magic, magic. We drew a Phyrexian Revoker. If only we had that last turn to turn off the Teferi so they couldn't Verdict us here. So we go to combat and we attack. Supreme Verdict that we just knew was coming. Now the question is, how much do I value this Arbiter? So I can Flicker Wisp it out until next turn. Or I can just E-Win it back and play it as well. They're going to probably bounce my Vial with the Teferi, so I think I have to play Revoker this turn. Yeah, so this happens. Then we play a Revoker. Naming Teferi. Teferi, Time, Raveler. Then we're going to play a Noble Hierarch. And another fucking Verdict. Okay. How do I save my Vial here? I guess I can Wisp out the Teferi to save my Vial. That might be the way I do this. But then I'll lose the Wisp as well. I can also Wisp just to reset my Vial. Well, that doesn't seem so hot. Okay, I think I'll let that happen. They're going to tick up the Teferi probably simply because they want to keep it around. Mystic Sanctuary brings back Supreme Verdict. Fucking yay. I think Mystic Sanctuary might be the grossest offender in the entire deck. Okay, they are losing the Teferi here to reset my Vial. I think I'm just gonna Flicker out my Vial because this means they don't get to draw a card. This means that our Vial comes back and keeps ticking up. We have to spend a turn playing it. Also, if we can just blow up the Hallowed Fountain, if we drew an Arbiter, for example. Well, no, we can't Eternal Witness back the Ghost Quarter and play an Arbiter here. Because double white is what they need for the Verdicts. Okay. Attack them for 3 here. I'm going to play an Eternal Witness, which means they will definitely Wrath us. But then we can get back Phyrexian Revoker, which will allow us to turn off either of the Teferis if they draw them. They draw the Supreme Verdict that they put back onto the library thanks to Mystic Sanctuary. They play a Misty Rainforest. We're never denying them from the white now. They Verdict us. No value from the Ewok, barring the first card we got back. We tick up our Aether Vial. I'm going to draw one more land here, would be great. We did not. We drew another Vial, so we're just going to play it. Does mean I can probably push my Vial on 2 up to 4 here. We should have revoked the Arkham's Astrolabe back in the day. That would have stopped them from verdicting us twice, but that's with hindsight of knowing they had Verdict. We make a Revoker, and we're going to name Teferi Hero of Dominaria, I guess? The 5-mana one. We continue to tick up our vials. We draw a Temple Guard and we'll shock ourselves for that. We'll attack them. If they have a snake, they can ambush our Evoker here. They don't have a snake. Interesting. Our opponent plays a Temple Guard tapped and passes back to us. Do we flash in a Restoration Angel here? Probably not. I think I want to have them uncountable because they could have Cryptic Commands up now. We draw a Charming Prince. Let's go to combat and attack. Take them to 11. We're going to use Charming Prince in their end step to scry 2 for ourselves. They drew a card, didn't play a land, and passed through their turn. I'm assuming their hand is... Oh, they played a Flooded Strand. Their hand must be full of counter magic, I would assume. Charming Prince ETBs, and we'll scry 2. We will bottom the Horizon Canopy and bottom the Forest. 2 lands to the bottom of our library. We can now also... I think I do Restoration Angel my Charming Prince here to scry again. Also turns the clock up too. We scry another 2. And we're going to put Plains on the bottom, Wisp on the top. We're going to path my Angel. Let's see if they got a Cryptic in hand. I'm going to try and flicker my Charming Prince with the Restoration Angel to then Charming Prince the Restoration Angel. They have Mana Leak. Okay, so we thought they had counter magic. Playing into it might have been incorrect. Okay, do I want to search? No, I want the Wisp on top of my library, I think. They have 1 card left in hand. What is it? They're going to Field of Ruin my Horizon Canopy. And I have to search. So I should have seen that coming. Should have seen that coming. So we've just ruined our 4 scries. I think playing the second Restoration Angel was incorrect, honestly. I think it was not greedy, but maybe it was greedy. What do we draw? Do we draw gas? Horizon Canopy is kind of gas. Attack for 4. Our opponent has 1 card in hand. They're going to start cracking their fetches here to try and thin their deck to draw something that matters. Oh, no, I lied. They're just going to go search for a fucking Mystic Sanctuary. They're going to get a Supreme Verdict. And I'm going to fucking vomit up my own pelvis. It's... Oh, God, Mystic Sanctuary fucking sucks. I hate it so much. That's me just being honest, by the way. That's me just being very honest about that card. So, we're going to see a Verdict here. Now, I don't have a Selfless Spirit in the deck, I don't think I decided in because I'm an idiot. We drew actually very, very good here. Gideon might be our best possible draw. So me saying not terrible is definitely an understatement. We drew a Ghost Quarter, which is also something because it means we can actually fight back against a Cryptic Command Mystic Sanctuary lock. Now let's hope the last card in their hand isn't Cryptic Command because it wasn't. Sweet. Let's make a knight. Pass the turn back to our opponent. Teferi Time Raveler from our opponent. They bounce our knight. This might be an attempt to lower our Gideon into becoming a 5/5 so they can path it. We drew an Arbiter, which I'm going to cast. Going to make a knight here. We pass back to our opponent, who's got a Teferi, who they can tick up now to give Supreme Verdicts to Flash. They have a Flooded Strand to go get a Supreme Verdict, frustratingly, out of their bin. Go a second Ghost Quarter, which is nice. We're going to go to combat and attack. We're going to attack their face as well. We're going to ignore Teferi now. They're on 6. two-turn clock quite easily. Even a two-turn clock, if they manage to kill one of our creatures, they have 3 cards in hand, so they could have a Snake plus a Plowshares, for example. Playing the Ghost Quarter out of my hand when I've got a Violent 4 and a Violent 3 is probably wrong, actually. Cryptic Command. Return target opponent to the hand and draw a card. Okay, sure. Well, I guess I'm just going to attack the Teferi now. No, I'm gonna hold fast with what I was saying. Attack their face. Take them to 4. So they pathed our Cat Jesus. We make a knight and we pass the turn back to our opponent. We can't realistically uptick Gideon unless we have ways to protect him, I guess. I mean, there's 2 cards in hand, so maybe upticking Gideon's the correct thing to do and just slam into their face. But if they have a snake for the 2/2, then they don't die. We drew a Blade Splicer. We attack their face with a 2/2. Even if in their turn they fetch into a 3rd Sanctuary, put Supreme Verdict on top, activate Teferi to bounce a Vial, for example. Yeah, here we go. They're returning their Astrolabe to their hand. We still can make a Blade Splicer instant speed at the end of their turn, so we can still make 4 power. Uro of Titan's Wrath. A bit of a problem, not gonna lie. Gains them 6 life, makes a body, because they can cast it both ways here. Man, what a strong magic card. Fucking Christ almighty. It's almost like people who are deciding during this period might have been smoking crack or something to decide something that fucking ludicrous. Like, how ridiculous is that in the late game? I mean, it's pretty good in the early game. But look at this. They've cast 1 card and it's done everything. It's drawn them cards, it's stabilized their life total, it's made them a huge body. Like, what the actual fuck? They're going to Flooded Strand now to go fetch something. These snow-covered plains. Play an Astrolabe. Draw a card. 5 cards in hand now. They played another fetch. They have 4 cards in hand. End of their turn. We're going to activate this 8th. We have a lot of power in play, but they're on 9 again thanks to Uro. Fucking Christ on a bike. Scavenging Ooze. Where were you like 20 minutes ago, you piece of shit? Okay. Let's go ahead and... Do I emblem an attack? They block 4 and take 6, 7, 8. Go to 1. Let's up to Gideon. If they have a path, they have a path. We're at the point where my clock's running out, so I kind of want them just to fucking die. I'm trying my damnedest here. We'll attack with everything. I don't mind losing any bodies here. Like, Supreme Verdict's obviously the main problem. They crack their Misty Rainforest. They grab a snow-covered island. Uro's Titan of Nature's Wrath goes in front of the 3/3. They're going to take 9, 10. That's not right. They've got to have removal here. Yeah, they had removal for the Gideon that we knew about, basically. We'd said it time and time again, but I still allowed it to happen. That was greedy, me hoping it would stick around. Play a Scavenging Ooze. So on the upside, they can't... If they've got a 3rd Sanctuary, they can't get the Verdicts back while the Scoos exists. Now we could do some technical stuff where we like Ghost Quarter their fetches to force them to go fetch whilst, so we can then eat instead of them fetching and getting the Verdict in response to us eating. Big Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Here he is. Oh Lord, he coming. He's a big 5-mana boy. He's going to bounce our Scavenging Ooze. We're going to eat a Verdict. I'm going to eat another Verdict. Then Skoo's going back to our hand. Sure. They now attack with Uro. Game 3? I guess they... Go to 6. Take us to 3. Oh, what the actual fuck, Uro? What the actual fuck? Battle Skull. Okay. So we need to have blockers and a removal spell for the skull. They have the mana up to bounce the skull. Quarter. This game's pretty fucking over at this point, right? Like, Mystic Sanctuaries to Fairies and Uros. I mean, turn to camera and shrug emphatically. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been frustrated with Magic because of some of the stuff that's been happening. And Companion was the fucking crux of it, right? Like, it was the fucking worst. But to come back and play against the Snowblade deck is kind of frustrating because, yeah, it's a similar level of what do we do? Is this just a natural end state for Magic? Is that the older formats will get to this point where like little fair decks like mine just aren't worth playing because you need to play degenerate shit that goes in and under this? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's just how Magic will be. Or maybe I just really fucking hate Uro. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I am scooping to this because we are not getting any further. I'm going to draw a card or two to see how we go. And then I'm going to take a breather because my voice is going again. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm still around. I'm still making Magic content. I'm just a bit fucking fed up with Modern and Legacy, if I'm honest with you a little bit. Haven't played any Legacy for ages. There will be some Legacy content coming up. I think I need to just play some memes. I think my favourite decks just aren't good enough anymore, and that's what I've got to come to terms with. There will be more Modern. There will be more D&T. I will keep trying. And the majority of the decks in the format I do enjoy playing against. So I think perhaps just feel bad playing against the Snowco, Astrolabe, Teferi, Uro piles. That's the problem. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my negative mood. And I'll see you all very soon. Ta-ta for now.